Hello everybody, I'm Jake P. Cynthia JP Films, and today I'm going to do raw edit number 8. And I know I haven't made a lot of videos lately with school and work and everything else in between. I haven't had a lot of time to make videos, but I'm trying to get back into it right now. So let's jump into raw edit number 8. Okay, we have some photos here. I have 8 images. I feel like I keep doing that with picking the same amount of images as the raw edit number, but that was on accident again. So let's jump right into the raw files. This was homecoming for East Side Sub High School, and I picked some images that I thought were pretty cool. So let's edit this one. I'm underexposed. This was a very cloudy and rainy-ish day. Didn't rain too much. But I knew I was shooting raw, so I knew it can get a little away with a little bit more shutter speed than I would if it was a regular rainy day or whatever. So I bumped up my exposure and my contrast as I always do. I'm gonna adjust the highlights just a tad, and also gonna bring up the shadows because I want to see the details more in his face. Alright, so let's bring that up. That's pretty good. Bring the whites up maybe a little bit. And I'm going to boost the clarity and the vibrancy. Let's adjust my line because it's never good. And I'm going to crop this in and get rid of some of that dead space over there. Alright, yeah. I think that looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the before and after. You can see here we're a little underexposed. We brought it back with the raw file, bumped up the clarity and the vibrancy, and it looks a lot more colorful and a lot more in your face. Let's go to the next one. Alright, this was a good expression shot. I wasn't really ready for this, so that's why I have so much headroom, and I cut off his feet. This was kind of like a quick turnaround and take a picture type of deal. But it didn't focus, so I was happy about that. So I am going to crop this to a portrait style here. Crop it even more. I want to really get tight on the facial expression. Yeah, there we go. Alright, move that out of my way. I'm going to the exposure looks pretty good. I'm going to bump up the contrast. Okay, and now I'm going to dip the highlights a little bit, bring the shadows up. Same thing with the whites as before, kind of the same. Bring up the clarity and the vibrancy. And I think that looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the before and after. Oh, okay, there we go. See, we're a little dull here. It's kind of flat, and then we make everything pop with the contrast and the clarity and the vibrancy. It really makes this image pop right out of the screen there. All right, let's go to the next one. This one was cool. This was all the fans right before they were about to kick off. So I thought this was a cool shot. I'm going to crop out all of this. I'm going to do like a creative crop. I usually don't do that kind of thing, but I'm going to do it for the sake of making it look good. Let's turn off the locked composition, and right above the coach's head looks pretty good. And then we got like a nice panoramic type of shot here with that kind of creative crop. I'm gonna boost the exposure a little bit, bring up the contrast. I'm going to bring down the highlights quite a bit because if you can see, all their arms look kind of white and shiny, so I'm going to bring that down, bump up the shadows because most of these people have black shirts, and you want to see the detail in the black shirts. If you dip it down, it just looks like solid black. When you bring up the shadows a little bit, you can see more of the detail there. I'm going to bring down the whites, boost the clarity just a tad, and also the vibrancy. I'm going to bring up quite a bit. Makes the red pop. I'm going to bring down the exposure just a tad. That looks pretty good. Alright, let's see before and after. Alright, not too much has changed. It kind of just brought up the the exposure a little bit, and the contrast is just had as well. But this a little underexposed and a little flat, so I just wanted to make it pop a little bit more like I did here. Alright, I like this shot. I like this one a lot. You see you got the rush coming in. He's about to kick the ball. You got the crowd in the background. I think this is a great shot. I'm going to bring up the exposure with the contrast along beside it. I'm going to dip down just a little bit to highlights. The shadows, I'm going to leave the same. I actually might bring them down just a little bit. Bring up the clarity and the vibrancy. And I'm going to bring down the highlights even a little bit more, just to make sure we're not really blowing it out. And I'm going to adjust my line as it is a little bit off. And I think that looks pretty good. Maybe a little too much. Let's pull it back a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. Alright, let's see the before and after. A little underexposed, but not bad, and just making the colors pop. Once again, this might actually look good in the black and white. I'm going to try that. Let's see what this looks like. Let's see. If I bring this up. That looks pretty cool. Not gonna lie. I like how that black and white looks. That looks pretty cool. I'm going to keep the black and white. I'm going to bring up the shadows a little bit here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm digging the black and white. I'm going to keep that. That looks pretty cool. Alright, let's go on to the next one. Alright, it's starting to rain. You can see the raindrops coming in from behind. And I'm going to crop this in first. I'm not going to do it portrait style, though. I'm going to keep it like this because I want him out of focus in it. I think it looks pretty cool. Alright, and I love this picture because of the expression on his face, and you can see his eyes, like I said in my video. When I'm doing sports photography, you can check that video out on my channel. What I look for in sports photography, I like looking at the eyes. I like to see where he's running and what he's thinking. You can kind of try to figure that out. I'm going to try to bump up the exposure and the contrast. Bring down the highlights just a little. I'm also going to bring up my clarity and the vibrancy. That looks pretty good. Maybe too much on the exposure. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, let's see a before and after. A little underexposed, a little flat. And then we bring it back with the raw file and we bump up the vibrancy. And you can see the raindrops coming in behind him. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's go to the next one. This shot I love. You can really see the rain coming down now, shooting at 1250 of a second here, so you really got to freeze that rain, and it's nice and out of focus, nice and blurry. I think it looks pretty damn cool. I'm going to crop this like so. That's a pretty good crop right there. There we go. I'm gonna just fix the line a little bit because you can kind of see the line from the fence in the background. That's what I'm basing this off of. So let's do that even a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. So I want that straight line from the fence. I'm gonna bump up the exposure just a tad with the contrast. That already looks pretty good. Let's see what else I want to touch here. Not too much. Clarity I'm definitely gonna want to bring up. Same with the vibrancy. That looks pretty good. When you bring up the clarity, you can really start to make out the rain in the background versus when it's normal. You can still see it, but when you bring it up, you can really start to see a more definite circled shape from the blurred out rain. So I think that looks pretty good. Let's see a before and after. Alright, same as before. A little underexposed, a little dull. And then like always, bring up the exposure, the contrast, and the vibrancy, and everything starts to pop. Two more. I know this is getting kind of long, but I haven't been here in a while, so enjoy this. Alright, this is a good captured image. You got the wide receiver going up for the ball, and then you got the defender coming in and defending it. Pretty good shot right here. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Alright, so we're going to bring up the exposure and the contrast. A little too much blown out white, so I'm going to bring down the highlights in the white. Bring up the shadow a little. Bring up the clarity and the vibrancy. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe adjust my line. I think it might be a little bit off. Yeah, that looks better. Alright, I like that. Let's see the before and after. Little underexposed and dull like before. Same as always. And then boom. It is boomified. So let's go to the next one. The last one. This one I like too because of the facial expression. You can see the expression on his face. And you're going to see what he's doing. He's trying to avoid getting tackled by this dude. He's going to try for the stiff arm. I don't remember if it's going to work. It looks like he's slipping right here. But I think it's a great moment captured. So I'm going to crop into the action. Alright, I'm going to adjust my line. Let's see, I don't want to cut off that guy's foot. There we go, nice and straight. See, can I move it over even more? Okay, I think the exposure is pretty good. So let's adjust the contrast, bring down the highlights a little, bring up the shadows because I want to see more of his eyes. Bring up the clarity quite a bit. And the vibrancy, maybe make it a little bit cooler. Alright, that looks pretty good. Oh, my start of this is almost full, thank you. And bring down the whites just a little bit. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm pretty good with this image. Let's see what that looks like. Alright, it's a little dull. And then we boomified it a little bit. Not too much of a change, but definitely you can see it a little bit more crisp and a little bit brighter, more vibrant. Okay. So, thank you guys for staying with this channel. Even though I've been away for about 2 weeks. I'm going to try to make more videos. It's kind of hard with school and work, but I'm going to try to make it work. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.